So today at the living room, the topic was a change makers. And if you take change makers as the term, there are three predictors, I will say, that can make you a great change maker. First, you have to be in an environment which got constant change, because if it's rare, then less probability to be a great change maker. So a lot of change. A change is a constant, is a given. The second is that it brings challenges on a daily basis, and it can be a small challenge and a strategic challenge, and the ability to adopt. The ability to adopt is in part your mental, I will say, ability to adopt, your character, and also the tools and the structure of your organization that can support the ability to adopt. And I think in Unilog, if we look on most of the, or maybe not most, all of us are change makers in different roles. This is very much our DNA. And one of the things that if we look on leadership, so for sure, I will say everywhere, not just in Unilog, leadership is something that is not given to you. No one will give you a title of finance leadership. Maybe you are finance manager or account manager or support team. Leadership is something that all of us know, that you just know this person, he's leading, and it doesn't really matter which role he's taking in the company. There are many leaders. And what makes one a great leader is usually his curiosity, his ability to initiate, how initiative he is, the wish to expand the influence and the doing, the good doing, creativity, and for sure the ability to manage relationships and create mutual trust and respect. And those are the people we want to follow, and that's leadership. And in change makers, leadership is very strong because they are change makers. It's like magicians in many ways for me. They create reality. And creating reality, it's like sometimes magic. What are the tools we can use in order to expand our contribution as change makers? At the end, Unilog is a change maker as a company, and the individuals within Unilog are for sure change makers. So we answer that the mindset is curiosity, the ability to have critical thinking, not to accept things always as given, the ability to look at the risk and to calculate fast sometimes the risks involved, not always with AI, although sometimes with, and patient, since sometimes you can do that and then that and then that until you can create the change that you want to lead. And it can be on a daily level. It can be something that happened and you want to change the outcome. because otherwise you will not perform as we want to perform. It can be after a year of activity to sit down and to think, is that still serving the business needs and growth of my customer? Am I using the tools in the best way? What maybe we can add to our tools? So we live in the world our questions create. This phrase I was introduced to me 2 years ago in Mexico. It is a sentence that made me think that sometimes a good question is as such that makes you really think, rethink. And sometimes it might lead to like throwing something and rebuilding it. And sometimes it might lead to a new way of doing things. But a good question is hard to find. Think about it. When was the last time someone asked a really hard question that made you think again about what you do or the solution you provide or your life or whatever? So today at the living room, we spoke about questions and we asked questions without providing answers. The idea is that everybody is listening to the questions, and then everyone can take to himself what he wants to explore, what he wants to investigate. And I'm sure that out of those 25 questions we had today, at least 3 of them will change things that we are doing today or taking for granted and doing it in the same way. So, yeah, questions. Sometimes we don't like questions. It's annoying if someone asks us, why do you, as if what we do is not good enough. But the real thing is when someone is trying to understand why, and again, sometimes you have to ask like 5 times why and why and why and why. It can bring great things. And I will end with something that Ilya, our CTO, said to me today. One of the things that we know that questions can lead to a change. And he said, so many times I built something and I threw it and I started it again. Yet the ability to throw something which you made a lot of effort to create under the understanding that now you will create a better solution, that's a great skill. We are not so good in throwing things. Think about it. Look at your kitchen or your living room or your clothes. Uh, some of us may be better in throwing things, but I can assure you that if you will open my kitchen drawers and ask me when was the last time you used this, so might be yesterday, but in some cases I have the things which maybe I used once. And by the way, might be that if I will need to use it again, I will not even remember that I have it. Do you have questions for us? We love questions. If you want to talk about your questions, about your supply chain, about your challenges, invite us. We will be happy to come. So it was a good Wednesday, and we had a lot of questions, which I still need to think about. They are here. And I wish you a nice day. Depends where you are on the globe or evening. And thank you. Bye bye.